this led me into a strange rabbit hole here about DEI, once again. So I decided to look up this Asus company. What's going on with this, right? And I found this article from late last year. HR magazine. This is from the UK. Asus tried to drop DEI targets, but for all the wrong reasons. Huh? Funny how that works. Take a look at this. Asus has announced that bosses will no longer need to meet diversity, equity, and inclusion targets in order to receive annual bonuses. Instead, bonuses will hinge on the fashion giant meeting profit targets. That makes sense! That makes sense to me! The decision to drop diversity quotas is not in itself a bad thing. It didn't always work to increase representation of marginalized groups in a long-term, genuine way. These guys will tell you, they didn't go far enough. I will tell you, they go too far already. So, we disagree, we agree for different reasons. But deprioritizing diversity is the wrong way to go about boosting profit. And yet, Asus isn't the only company to let diverse drop down its agenda recently. The Black Lives Matter movement saw companies massively increase investment for DEI initiatives, but the economic downturn has since led companies to backtrack on their commitments and progress. As companies being forced to make layoffs, ethnic minority workers are being hit the hardest. DEI budgets and DEI teams themselves have also become the victims of company cutbacks. I wonder why? I just wonder why! At Twitter, the DEI team was cut from 30 people to just 2. Even the UK government was pressured to cut spending on equality and diversity measures and grants, or quote-unquote woke projects in MP's words, earlier this year. These DEI savings are a false economy. We'll see about that. We'll see exactly what you mean. Countless research shows that the more diverse teams makes greater financial returns. Plus, staff at diverse and inclusive companies are more than 5 times as likely to stay for a longer tenure, using hiring spend for employers. It makes no sense for us to deprioritize diversity in the name of profit. There's an argument to be made for focusing less on DEI targets, and more making hiring processes fairer, in pursuit of diversity. In some cases, diversity quotas, now you're talking about quotas, out of nowhere, that's funny, can help companies accelerate the pace of change when it comes to increasing the representation of marginalized groups on their teams. Why is that important? Once again, why is that important? And given how long employment and pay gaps have lain stagnant, companies are ready to look for ways to bring about change sooner. Change for money, not change for DEI. I don't know what you mean here. It's so strange. But there's no guarantee that DEI targets will work. Yes! Thank you for understanding. I will tell you, it's because they didn't go far enough. I will tell you, it's because it doesn't make any sense. At Asus, bosses failed to increase the representation of ethnic minority groups and women in leadership roles by demand that their DEI targets required. Yes, but maybe they didn't have good enough minorities or women for those positions. That makes sense. Even when DEI targets are met, there's no guarantee that lasting and meaningful change will follow. The first problem with diversity quotas is that they tend to overlook intersectionality. They are not diverse enough. They are telling you right here, December 2023. For example, DEI targets commonly focus on increasing the number of ethnic minorities candidates hired into senior roles and increasing the number of female candidates hired into senior roles. The focus isn't on hiring more women of color into senior roles. My god. The meme. The meme is real, dude. It's fucking real. You don't have enough black trans women in wheelchairs in senior roles. And I'm like, are they good? I don't know, I don't think so. So ass. It's so ass. There's it on hiring more ethnic minority LGBT plus workers, or more women with disabilities. Yet these intersectional groups are the most underrepresented of all amongst workforces. They don't go far enough. Keeps happening, man. The second problem with diversity quotas is that they can encourage hurried hiring and head counting. Yes, that's what quotas means. Especially when there's the incentive and bonuses for those that meet company targets. They don't go far enough, man. That's the problem. This might improve diversity in the short term, but tokenism doesn't foster inclusive company cultures. And diverse hires who don't feel included are less likely to feel able to speak up and be heard, rise up through the ranks, or stay in their new roles for long. Maybe they're not good enough. How about that? Maybe they're not good enough. Also, diverse hires who don't feel included. Has this person ever worked an actual job that's not writing bullshit on the internet? Nobody feels actually included in a job. It's fine. You just go there, you do your thing, and then you go back home. And if you are lucky, you don't need to hate literally everyone in the office. This is just like some sort of utopia that doesn't exist. I don't understand. Not because of the diversity, but because everyone in the office, they're so nice, so inclusive, such a family. If they tell you that, run away. Run away, that's not real. They're going to eat you alive. The solution is simple and backed by stacks of evidence. Focus on hiring the best candidates for each role, rather than candidates that come from certain backgrounds. Diversity and increased financial returns, which we know diverse teams produce. Citation, please. Look, didn't have any links here. It'd be cool if it did, but they don't. Will follow organically, and eliminate the need for diversity targets in the first place. Unlike diversity targets, this approach also ensures that increased diversity lasts. To identify the best candidates for roles, the first step is to anonymize applications and redact personal information such as candidates' names, personal pronouns, and postcodes. You know, if they have pronouns, that application is going to the trash directly. This allows hiring teams to assess applications without bias, clouding their judgment. Oh, but don't you know, bias goes both ways. The next step is to use applications to ask candidates questions based on real-world scenarios, designed to test whether individuals have the skills needed to succeed in specific roles. Also have to mention that, yes, blind applications I think are good. This anonymous, skill-focused approach is the first and most accurate way to predict candidate performance. It just so happens that when companies assess candidates' true potential, diverse talent shines through. Shines through. Is it diverse? Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't matter, because you have actual talent. That's what you're looking for. At Applied, our research shows that this approach increases the number of ethnic minority hires by up to 300%, and increases the number of women hired into senior roles by up to 70%. Plus, hiring based on merit rather than tokenism help foster inclusive cultures and ensure diverse hires have the skills needed to succeed in their new roles. Citation needed. It'd be cool if they had a link for this fucking research here, but they do not. As a result, these hires are more likely to stay. The business case for diversity and evidence for using anonymous skill-based hiring processes, the GBIT, is clear. Just have to assess to rethink its approach. And they keep telling you, but if you have anonymous an unanimous approach. If you have blind applications, it actually increases diversity. Does it? Does it though? I found this, looking for information if this was the case or not. I found this. An anonymized CV is improved. dei&i. Research says no. And this thing contradicts itself constantly. That means it's not a factor. It was never a factor. So funny. So funny. Look at here. What does statistics say? The need for using anonymized CVs. Have you been rejected from a job because of your name? Have you been rejected because of your age? In case you haven't been, do you feel privileged about that? No? And in case you have, do you think that's unfair? You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if it's because of your name or your age. Actually. So what the hell? Nice fan fiction, I suppose. Bias is a bigger problem in hiring than many people realize. Unconscious prejudices from a culture of upbringing influence the decisions of even well-meaning, socially conscious people. Oh, the bias. The bias! It's so real! The study shows that the ethnic minority applicants are discriminated against in favor of white applicants in 29% of cases, and they do link their research. I just took a glance at this, so I don't know if their methodology is the correct one. I don't know too much about this, but most of this research is from the late 90s and early 2000s. Are you gonna tell me it is the same society today? It's clear that it's not. Resumes with black-sounding names are 50% less likely to receive a callback for an interview than those with white-sounding names. This one is really funny. This one is really funny, because in the first page it tells you it's actually because of the place you live and not because if you are black or white. I'm pretty sure they say that. Maybe I understood that the wrong way. Another study found that applicants with Turkish-sounding names and headscarves have to submit 4.5 times as many applications to receive the same number of interview calls as those with German-sounding names and no headscarves. No citation? No idea. Also, do they have the same knowledge? Do they have the same skills? We don't know. On top of all that, researchers from PwC found that 1 in 5 women experience gender discrimination in recruitment. I took a look at this. This research is from 2017, so it's recent. But I don't know where they get that 1 in 5. I think it's because it mentions... Let's open this, actually. Yes. Employer trends. The good news is that 80% of employers said that they've aligned their diversity and recruitment strategies. This is vital, as diversity efforts operated in a silo will not achieve diversity goals. I'm like, okay, but that doesn't mean that the other 10% are pretty misogynists. That means that the other 20% do not apply dei. So, this seems to me like a stretch. Women have a statistically significant 4.7% point advantage in the callback rate over men when the recruiter is female. I guess maybe does that make sense? Sure, I suppose. But at the same time, yes, in this case it benefits women. So, I don't know. I don't think you should be saying that here, perhaps. They're trying to be just objective, that could be the case. I'm not making assumptions here, I shouldn't. Psychology faculty members from the US were randomly assigned to evaluate both two identical CVs for a person who was applying for an assistant professor position, differentiated only by the gender of the candidate. When asked if the candidate would be competitive for a tenure-track position in their department, faculty who evaluated the man's CV responded affirmatively 72% of the time, compared to just 44% of those evaluating the women's CV. And they will tell you here some stuff. We have some charts. Anonymous CVs cannot eliminate bias during interviews. Sure, blind hiring can't solve your diversity problems on its own. Implementing anonymized CVs and hiring diverse candidates is not sustainable. If you cannot attract a diverse candidate pool, blind hiring will help. Why is that important? Once again, anonymous hiring doesn't guarantee minority background hires. And they have some points here. And this is extremely funny, because they will tell you, anonymous hiring doesn't guarantee minority background hires. Save the best for last as always. Blind hiring gives absolutely no guarantee that you'll be providing minorities with an equal opportunity of getting hired. What do you mean? What do you mean? I think when they say equal opportunity here, they don't mean equality, because being blind would be the highest equality possible. I guess they mean equity, and it shows. In fact, research shows that anonymizing CVs widen the interview gap between non-minority and minority candidates by 10.7 percentage points, from 2.4 percentage points in the standard procedure to 13 percentage points in the anonymized procedure. At the hiring stage, the recruitment gap widened by 3.7 percentage points. How is that possible? They're telling you, no, you're getting more diversity, but that's not true. It's actually a known factor, and we can open that and come here. This is a French study in 2009 to 2011. It's really funny. It's really funny. They mentioned the employee. I think that's how you're supposed to say it, which is the French employment agency. They give you the policy issue, the countries of evaluation, and whatnot. And here we go directly to the results, right? They mentioned they have like thousands of applicants, and not all of them come from the employee, okay? I think that's important. So, let's see. Making resumes anonymous did not affect the average number of interviews and job offers volunteer firms made. Makes sense. The length of the hiring process, or the use of other recruitment channels, but it reduced the likelihood that firms interview and hire minority candidates. Huh? Huh? How are you going to increase diversity if doing this doesn't matter? Removing personal information from resumes did not affect the number of interviews and job offers participants were made. Making resumes anonymous did not affect the average number of interviews and offers for employment made per job posting, the length of the hiring process, or the use of other recruitment channels. However, when resumes were made anonymous, participating firms were less likely to interview and hire minority candidates. Anonymizing resumes widened the interview gap between non-minority and minority candidates by 10.7 percentage points, from 2.4 percentage points in the standard procedure to 13 percentage points in the anonymized one. At the hiring stage, the recruitment gap widened by 3.7 percentage points. We have charts, don't worry, we have charts. Although participating and non-participating firms were similar in most observable characteristics, researchers found that the firms that volunteered to participate in the study were more likely, on average, to interview and hire minority candidates when using standard, name-bearing resumes than those who declined. They also found that participating firms attached less importance to interrupted work histories or other negative signals for minority candidates. Funny how that works. Funny how that works. I thought this was not a thing. This suggests that anonymizing resumes may have made it more difficult for employers that were originally more favorable to minority candidates to identify these candidates. Yes, because it's anonymous. Why would you want to hire someone just for the color of their skin? That doesn't make any sense. And to assess their application in light of the adverse employment conditions many of them face. Callback rates for anonymous versus standard resumes. Error bars represent 95% confidence intervals. We can see the standard 9.3 to 11.6, and we can see the anonymous 4.7 to 17.7. It's a massive difference. It is a massive difference. And it's obvious. It's obvious why. It's not because they are more skilled. It's because they probably get grants from the government to be more inclusive. It's France. Would you be surprised? I don't think so. Global ranks for participating versus non-participating firms. You can see participating firms, standard resumes, and non-participating firms, standard resumes. From 14.6 and 14.0 to 7.3 and 21.0. It's funny. It's funny. Funny how it works. The results of the evaluation generated considerable discussion in France and made a contentious broader debate about the best policy options for reducing discrimination in hiring, and in 2015, the government decided to abandon the policy. For more details, see the evidence to what's the case study. I don't think we need to in this case. So they will tell you it increases diversity. It doesn't, and this comes from just the usual weasel-wording here, right? Because they will tell you, oh, but diversity is so good. It increases production and profit and a lot of things. And I'm like, that's it though. That's it. Well, it does, but that's because diversity has two meanings. You have diversity, the definition of the word, and then you have diversity, as in equity. And what they're trying to tell you is that through the positives of actual diversity, you will get the same results with diversity as in equity. It's not the case because they're different. So easy to understand.